Trying to coddle him for? Let the man walk off, have some time to himself, sit down, soak it up, and come up with what he need to do.
King Harris walked into jail thinking his last name would protect him.
T.I.'s son, King Harris, has been arrested.
But what happened next proved deadly wrong. A shocking attack left him clinging to life, his family in chaos, and a mystery that only gets darker the deeper you look. Was this just prison violence, or the beginning of something much bigger? King Harris, son of rap superstar T.I. and Tiny, carried himself like he was untouchable. He flaunted his lifestyle on Instagram, clapped back at critics, and bragged that he was built for this. But the second those prison gates slammed behind him, reality hit harder than any diss track. The heir to hip-hop royalty was stripped of his image and thrown into a world where privilege means nothing. First, the arrest didn't seem like breaking news. Many brushed it off as yet another celebrity kid caught up in minor trouble. But then came the skipped court appearance, the stack of charges, and the whispers that King wasn't built for the real streets. And that's not all. Inside Georgia's prison walls, his fame didn't earn respect. It painted a giant bullseye on his back. According to insiders, he was cornered, beaten savagely, and left barely recognizable. Guards dragged him away as chaos erupted in the block, with inmates fighting not for dominance, but for the chance to take him down. And it gets worse. Sources insist this wasn't random. This was a calculated ambush. Cold, ruthless hit designed to send a message. But here's the burning question. Why him and why now? Was it jealousy, payback, or the start of something far more sinister? What happened inside those prison walls could have been ripped straight from a crime thriller. King Harris wasn't just roughed up, he was hunted. Sources reveal he was lured into a blind corner. Right at the moment surveillance cameras mysteriously went dark. Within seconds, fists, boots, and makeshift weapons came crashing down. By the time guards stormed in, King was barely breathing, his face swollen beyond recognition, his body limp. And that's not all. Witnesses claim this wasn't a random outbreak of violence. It was a statement, a warning shot, a brutal reminder that behind bars, fame doesn't shield you, it destroys you. Some inmates reportedly saw King as a spoiled outsider, flashing jewelry and posturing like a gangster. Others say he double-crossed the wrong crew in a failed contraband deal, and the punishment was written in bruises and blood. But here's where it gets even darker. Rumors point to more than inmate revenge. Whispers suggest someone on the inside wanted this to happen. Guards who should have intervened didn't. Cameras that should have recorded everything malfunctioned. Coincidence? Or a setup engineered from within the system itself? And it gets worse. The assault might not just be about King's actions. Could be about his last name, his family scandals, and enemies who wanted to send a message that would echo far beyond the prison walls. The moment the attack hit the news, the Harris household erupted in panic. T.I. hasn't slept since, reportedly working the phones around the clock. He's contacting attorneys, political allies, and anyone with even a shred of influence over Georgia's correctional system.
Of T.I. and Tiny. And I told Steve Sale that my clients want justice.
According to insiders, he's willing to write checks, make promises, and sign non-disclosure agreements. Anything if it means pulling his son out before it's too late. And that's not all. Tiny is waging her own campaign from behind closed doors. She's said to be coordinating publicists, strategists, and family insiders, pushing for a softer approach. But here's the clash. While Tiny wants protection and compassion, T.I. believes only raw power and leverage can save King. And it gets worse. Their marriage is buckling under the strain. Sources whisper about explosive arguments, each parent pointing the finger at the other for King's downfall. Tiny blames T.I.'s harsh, tough love parenting for pushing King into rebellion. T.I. fires back, accusing Tiny of spoiling him and shielding him from real-world consequences. But here's where it gets even crazier. The public is watching it all unfold. Social media isn't just dissecting King's attack, it's now tearing apart the Harris marriage. The once unshakable dynasty is unraveling, and the world is witnessing every fracture in real time. And this is just the beginning. King's story is unraveling fast, and the truth gets darker with every leak. Don't miss what comes next. Hit subscribe, drop a comment, and stay locked in. As King lay bruised and broken, the whispers spread faster than wildfire. And these weren't just about a prison brawl, they were about family skeletons. The Harris name has always carried power in hip-hop, but it's also dragged along scandal. From lawsuits and public drama to those never-vanishing trafficking allegations, every shadow of his parents' past past followed King straight into that cell. And it gets worse. Fellow inmates reportedly used those scandals as ammo, taunting him non-stop. They mocked him with stories about his parents, threw his family's past mistakes in his face, and reminded him daily that fame doesn't mean protection. To them, King wasn't just another prisoner. He was a symbol of everything the Harris dynasty stood for, a target wrapped in controversy. But here's where it gets even darker. Rumors say this attack wasn't fueled by jealousy alone. King's name allegedly popped up in a contraband deal gone wrong. Some claim he backed out. Others say he snitched. In a place where loyalty is life or death currency, either one is a deadly move. And that's not all. The cameras that should have caught the ambush blacked out. The guards who should have intervened missing in action. Was this simply bad luck or a setup orchestrated from within? One thing's for certain, King Harris wasn't just battling other inmates. He was fighting the weight of his family's history, the code of prison life, and unseen enemies determined to break him. King Harris isn't simply another inmate caught in the storm. He's the son of one of hip-hop's most notorious power couples, and that makes his downfall bigger than bruises and hospital visits. What's really at stake is the Harris legacy itself, and it gets worse. The ambush tore open cracks in the family's carefully crafted image. Once marketed as unbreakable, the Harris dynasty now looks fractured, desperate, and hanging by a thread. T.I., once the king of the South, suddenly seems powerless. Tiny, usually the steady voice, is unraveling under the weight of the crisis. Meanwhile, their son lies in a hospital bed, fighting to survive, while the internet mocks, ridicules, and spreads conspiracy theories faster than the truth can catch up. But here's the chilling part. Insiders warn the assault may not be the last. Behind prison walls, weakness is blood in the water, and fame isn't protection, it's bait. This was only the first strike. The next one could be far deadlier. And that's not all. Every rumor, every headline, every leak keeps pushing the same question. Is King Harris just the victim of one savage ambush, or is this the opening act in a much darker saga that could burn his family's reputation to the ground? Behind those steel bars, the rules are different. Money doesn't matter. Fame carries no weight. Survival depends on alliances, silence, and respect. And King Harris walked in with none of them. From the moment he entered the block, insiders say he was marked. And it gets worse. Seasoned inmates reportedly mocked him to his face. "We don't care who your daddy is. This ain't a reality show." To them, King wasn't special. He was baggage, a pawn to be used. His privilege didn't shield him. It painted a neon target on his back. But here's where it cuts even deeper. High-profile inmates aren't safer. They're more exposed. They become symbols, trophies, reminders of a system that doesn't bend for fame. King's attempts to posture to stand on business only fueled the resentment. Every boast, every flex, every viral clip became ammunition against him. And that's not all. Once whispers of a failed contraband deal and rumors of betrayal began circulating, King's fate was sealed. In prison, respect isn't handed out. It isn't bought. It's earned in blood. And King's last name carried no weight in that brutal economy. The Harris family thought they were fighting a single battle. The truth? King was caught in a war where survival is the only headline that matters. And this story is only spiraling deeper. Each rumor, each leak, each headline pulls King further into danger. Don't miss the next reveal. Hit subscribe, drop a comment, and stay with us as the truth unfolds. When news of the savage ambush hit the web, the internet went into meltdown. Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram lit up instantly, and the responses couldn't have been more divided. Some users expressed heartbreak, sending prayers and sympathy to the Harris family. But others, they laughed, they mocked. They said King Harris had finally been introduced to reality. And it gets worse. Memes flooded timelines within hours. Old clips of King flexing his wealth and bragging online were stitched side by side with headlines about his brutal beating. To many, the narrative was clear. A pampered kid had been humbled. The internet wasn't pulling punches, it was tearing him apart. But here's where it gets crazier. Beyond the jokes and memes, conspiracy theories exploded. Some online voices claimed rival crews had been plotting this hit for weeks. Others tied it back to the Harris family's long list of scandals, insisting this wasn't just about King, it was about silencing the Harris dynasty. And that's not all. Every tweet, every viral clip, every rumor added fuel to the fire. The family wasn't just battling a prison crisis anymore, they were fighting a public one. And the question hanging in the air was brutal. Even if King survives, will his reputation ever recover? Inside Georgia's prison system, King Harris wasn't just another inmate. He was a pawn in a much bigger game. The moment he walked through those gates, rival groups saw opportunity. To them, he wasn't King the individual. He was leverage, a bargaining chip, and a way to flex dominance in front of everyone else. And it gets worse. Former inmates say high-profile prisoners are often treated like trophies. Hurting them sends a message, not just inside the block, but to the world outside. King's beating wasn't only about pain, it was about power. It was about about proving that fame means nothing in a place ruled by violence. But here's where it gets darker. Rumors claim it wasn't just inmate politics. Whispers suggest certain guards looked the other way, cameras mysteriously shut down, and the ambush was far too perfectly timed to be coincidence. Was King attacked because of his mistakes, or because someone higher up wanted to make an example out of him? And that's not all. Jealousy ran deep. Other prisoners reportedly hated his privilege. The private schools, the flashy lifestyle, the lawyers on call. To them, King wasn't a peer. He was a symbol of everything they'd been denied. And in prison, resentment is more dangerous than any weapon. The brutal truth: King Harris wasn't just surviving a fight. He was trapped in a power war where every move could determine whether he walks out alive or not at all. Behind closed doors, the Harris household has turned into a war zone. T.I. and Tiny, once paraded as hip-hop's power couple, are now clashing harder than ever as their son's life hangs in the balance. Tiny, insiders say, wants to shield King, push for compassion, keep the spotlight off, and protect him from the system's brutality. But T.I., he's demanding the opposite. He's pulling strings, calling in favors, and pushing for aggressive action to force results. And it gets worse. Friends close to the family reveal their arguments have become explosive. Tiny points the finger at T.I.'s tough love parenting, claiming he pushed King straight into rebellion. T.I. fires back, saying Tiny spoiled him, made him soft, and left him unprepared for reality. But here's where it gets crazier. The public can see the cracks. Social media isn't just analyzing King's ambush anymore. It's dissecting the Harris marriage. Old scandals have resurfaced. Fans are debating who's to blame, and the family brand built on unity is being ripped apart in real time. And that's not all. The ripple effect is pulling their other children into the storm. They're now caught in the speculation, facing rumors and unwanted attention they never asked for. What was once family hustle has turned into pure family chaos, and this time there may be no repair. Zoom out, and this isn't just the story of King Harris. It's the collision of celebrity privilege with the unforgiving world of prison politics. All the money, all the lawyers, all the fame, none of it matters when the rules inside are carved in fear and enforced with fists. King walked in believing his last name was armor. Instead, it turned him into a bullseye. And it gets worse. Insiders warn the first ambush may have only been the opening shot. This attack was meant as a warning. The next one could be far deadlier. Every day King survives is another day walking a razor's edge, surrounded by men who see him as prey, a pawn, or a way to make their own names echo through those walls. But here's the most chilling part. The Harris family's entire legacy now rides on his survival. King pulls through, it could spark a redemption arc like no other. If he doesn't, it could spell the total collapse of one of hip-hop's most infamous dynasties. And that's not all. The real masterminds, the motives, the names behind this calculated ambush haven't even been exposed yet. So the question lingers: is King Harris just another fallen celebrity, or the first move in a much darker game that could destroy everything his family built? This saga is far from over. The secrets behind King Harris's ambush are still buried, and the fallout could shake hip-hop forever. Don't miss the next chapter. Hit subscribe, drop your thoughts below, and watch the video on your screen right now for the revelations still to come.